Same story everywhere. Though, much of Rauatai's history is recorded in chants, so half our debates are sung. Just say the word. After everything we've been through, I won't let you down. Anyway, same story everywhere. Though, much of I'll keep watch. Get all the rest you need. Anyway, same story everywhere. Though, much of Rauatai's history is recorded in chants, so half our debates are sung. It doesn't resolve our feuds, but it does make them more entertaining.
Do you think there's hope for the Council? Or are they too stuck in their ways?
Do I look like a New Sundet politician? There's a reason I spent most of my time as far from civilization as possible.
Well, I'd vote for you, dearie. If only to see you squirm.
We'll finish this together. I'll keep watch. Get all the rest. You need.
Hey, sorry about... I came here to help you do whatever you're supposed to do with your god friend. Instead, I'm here talking to dead people. I've heard about the garden all my life, and I never expected something like that. But thanks to you, I think I was ready for it. I mean, it was blessed bizarre, but I could handle it. I will say, it's not really what I expected when I started tracking you and Kai back in Paradise. No, I was thinking more in terms of hunting for wild game and peeing on Kai to put the fires out. It's been a bit of a ride, Envoy. I feel like it's coming to an end. One way or another. I don't know. Maybe the unexpected isn't so bad after all. I never expected you and I would become friends. Quick note. If you tell any of the others I said that, I'll poison your drink. Anyway. Pleasant dreams.
We'll finish this together.
Envoy? Is it really you? Mihala told us you went into some place called the Garden to seek a god?
When you didn't return, we took you for dead.
What did you see there? The god you felt in Makutadek?
The origin of the Dream Scourge? It was the act of a god this whole time?
Everyone, please. We could get to the bottom of this if you would only let them speak.
It's been weeks, Envoy. What happened? Finally, a ray of sunlight shines through the storm cloud.
I will not grovel at the Envoy's feet for solving a plague I am not convinced was real.
If you wardens ever bothered to pull your heads out of your asses, you wouldn't take such pride in your ignorance.
You know nothing of me or my people, you fucking pirate!
Warden Commander, look around you. Is this really the time?
We believe the Dream Scourge was a malady of the soul. How did you put an end to it, Envoy?
Almost certainly. Nevertheless, I would like to hear it.
Well, you might not believe me, but I didn't want any of this to happen.
Yes, you said that. Are we supposed to just take you at your word?
It was Ludwine who called for the attack. She and her steel garrote laid siege to the city, shortly after you beat her to the garden.
You did. I kicked her corpse when you weren't looking. Just to be sure.
Well, she's seen better days, but you wouldn't know it judging by how she fights.
Ludwine's plowed through the militia like a knife through warm butter.
All right, let's keep the similes to ourselves.
Oh, cheer up. You wouldn't be the first to make that mistake. Might not be the last either, depending on how things go. So long as her passion for Wodica lives, so too will her spirit.
Then we destroy her faith, and the rest of her will follow. I have a theory about this. Let's talk at camp if you want to hear it. But I think we can kill her.
Oh, good. That will be easy.
It is not, I think, impossible.
We've had no news from inside for several days. From what we can observe, southern Paradis is in pieces, and the remaining militia batters at the gates to no avail.
Is there nothing our people can do?
Given the state of our supply routes after the Dream Scourge, and the Steel Garrote's destruction, we expect the people trapped inside will run short of fresh food and clean water in a matter of days.
We brought as many Hail and Able from Thirdborn as would come. But after the Dream Scourge and our losses from Nakukubel, we could spare so few. I worry it won't be enough.
Likewise, my wardens are still reeling from effects of the eruption. The keep was saved, but there is much to repair, particularly if we are to endure a siege. Most of my men remain at the keep. I can't risk them against the Steel Garrote for the sake of Paradis, not when we are so few.
The lawful settlement of a new Adiran colony, supposedly. Or the establishment of a Wodican state. She could win with a godlike in her ranks. Your presence would serve as a powerful endorsement. Somewhere inside that hollow head of hers, I believe she always hoped she'd turn you to her side. Remember, she has an obligation to Wodica, a solemn oath. And neither the Steel Garrote nor the queen that was look kindly upon oathbreakers. Well, that's been a point of debate. We can't agree on how to stand against the Steel Garrote, nor who should lead the effort.
Nobody wants to risk their people at the front.
So you let the Paradis militia go it alone?
Even if our meager forces should make it inside.
The siege won't end until Ludwine does. And none of you know how to kill her.
Precisely.
Because a victory here would discourage resistance elsewhere. The better question is, why didn't you stop her?
Excuse me? She's a 7-foot-tall skeleton powered by her devotion to the goddess of retribution. This isn't my fault.
Sure. Just blame the dead woman. Very mature.
Who else should I blame exactly? Our envoy, perhaps? For not stopping Ludwine in the tusks?
You could start with blaming your own incompetence. Why are you treating him with kid gloves when Paradis cries out for help?
Enough. I've heard your concerns. We cannot change it now. The Inquisitor was so convinced the Living Lands would unite against Adir that she's nearly made it true. One people, one law, one true God. That's Ludwine's vision for the Living Lands.
What passes between Ludwig and her men, or between Ludwig and the Emperor, for that matter, is not my affair. But if I had to guess, this was the alternative.
Your empire is doing what it does best. Stamping out dissent until surrender is the only option.
Your republics are hardly any different. Their intentions in the Deadfire were certainly not pure.
As you say, we left the republics for a reason.
I can't wait to see how you weasel out of this one.
I know it will. We are leading by example, returning order and dignity to Paradis in the wake of the Clavager's death. We will do the same to the frontier, given the chance.
Where was order and dignity when you burned Fior Messivernal?
My administration had nothing to do with that, as I know you know. Adiran rule and rule by the Steel Garrote would be markedly different beasts.
Spoken like a fucking diplomat. Splitting hairs when it all comes from the same head.
Order and dignity. That's what you think we're missing? Bastards! All of you!
You will take it all, whether the chance is given to you or not.
The Inquisitor answers only to Wodeka. In attacking Paradis, she has dragged us all far beyond the bounds of the Emperor's desires. I've answered your questions. Now I would like you, all of you, to answer mine. Ludwig has sent a message to the Emperor informing him of her attack. He will send advisors and reinforcements swiftly in response. What will his representatives find when they arrive? A new colony? A budding grave room? Before you face Ludwig, you should know what you're fighting for. All of you must decide, together. But whatever you decide, understand, the days of the frontier are done. Adir will come. Indeed, we are already here.
That's what I would like to know.
You have seen more of this land, and met more of its people than any of us. Your opinion is informed. You were empowered by the Emperor himself to investigate an impossible problem, and against the odds, you solved it. And as far as we know, you are the last godlike in the world, and the favored child of a mysterious god. And in our dealings together, I found you to be a person of substance and conviction. But mostly, it's because you're Adiran, so I trust you. And these fine people here are going to do whatever they like if they don't agree with you anyway. Oh, Envoy, no. Do not suggest that lightly. Think of the Emperor. There would be reprisals. Ones which this conclave could not survive, fractured as you are. Not unless you came together and formed a nation of your own. It would be difficult. No, impossible. I'm certain you would fail. Think of your people, all of you. Think of the lives at stake.
Rest into bounty. Does the winter frost dissuade the seeds? Many fruits on our boughs. We graft many leaves into strength.
We deserve our autonomy, even if we must fight for it. Anything less would be surrender.
Fleeing someone else's laws and authority is one thing, setting up your own is another. We're an island of misfits and dissidents. We'll still have to surrender some of our autonomy, and we won't agree on what that means overnight. We'll be vulnerable. Without allies, other powers will see us as ripe for the picking. Know that this is a hard road to walk.
We were fine before Adir came. We'll be fine when they're gone.
I think we ran things perfectly fine before your kin got here.
Though I'm hardly eager to work with any of you. I like the idea of twisting beneath Adir's boot heel, even less. But the Wardens cannot continue their vigil without water. If the others would fix our aqueduct, we're in.
It's a nice idea, but consider the costs. If we walk away from a relationship with Adir, we're leaving a lot of trade on the table. But the people of Thirdborn have friends in the world. I'm sure we'd find our way through.
With the Envoy's support, we'd have a god in our pocket. What could the Empire do to stop us? Together, we could repair Thior and create such miracles of animancy the Living Lands will become the envy of the world. It would be the honor of my life to stand with my people beside you all.
Of course. The Living Lands would become an extension of the Adiran Empire in leadership and law. Soldiers bearing the flag of Adir would be garrisoned in every town. They would be paid in Adiran shelling and speak only the Adiran language. Their roads would be smooth Adiran roads. Their medicine would be hygienic Adiran medicine. And their weapons would be efficient Adiran weapons. Our customs would become their customs. Our strengths would become their strengths. Our emperor would become their emperor. Turned toward a common purpose. No one, not Rawatai, not the Valian republics, not even a rogue god, would dare attack the Living Lands. This island would be safe for the first time in its history, and safe it would remain.
He would suppress our culture before it's had a chance to grow. Everything my people cultivated would be reduced to a footnote. If you have any love for this land, do not allow him to overwrite our history.
Rawatai built its empire from colonies like this. Many have become centers of culture and prosperity, backed by the protection of a strong navy. Of course, it can take decades to get there. And this road isn't an easy one. But Adir won't be the only empire eyeing this place. A formal agreement now could protect us from something worse later.
It shall be peaceful in that all dissenters will be silenced. So there's that.
Living Lands is a lot of things, but it will never be Adir, no matter how hard Adir wants it to be. Adir should turn back now and save everyone a bunch of blessed trouble.
The Adder's promise. Flip our feathers as we find our wings. The deed binds as the wire binds. To drown us, why were we set free?
The traditions of solace are what give my wardens their strength. Without them, we would buckle under the weight of the tusks. I would sooner walk my people into the acid sea than trust an Adiran to hold me up.
What need does Thirdborn have for the protections of Adiran soldiers? We have cannons, cliffs, and wills forged in the storms of Rawatai. And should Rawatai come for us, we will rain hellfire down on their heads. Your Adirans could do no better.
Under Adiran rule, your countrymen would strip my people of everything that makes them unique, all in the name of spiritual hygiene. I cannot betray them like that.
Of course. The Living Lands would retain its own laws under a grave appointed by the Emperor. The grave would be expected to promote and develop the Living Lands to our mutual benefit. They would divide the island into administrative districts and see them governed by mayors appointed from the local communities. The island would provide tribute in the form of resources and taxes, and in times of war, soldiers. The Empire, I should note, is nearly always at war. In return, the Living Lands would enter Adia's sphere of influence, and should outside nations attempt to invade, we would come to the Grave Room's aid. Naturally, that would be the Emperor's decision. But I suspect he would choose you. Only the strong survive the frontier. I used to believe that was Ludwig. But you were born to rule here. Quite literally. Well, give the matter some thought. You owe that much to yourself, at least.
Tribute, he says. Taxes, soldiers. The Empire has tried it all before. Look to the Eastern Reach if you don't believe me. They want to bleed us dry, to fill their coffers and fight their wars, to break us like wild animals. But I will not bend.
It's still a gamble, but I think it's the safest bet. We'd get the benefits of Imperial trade and protection without losing all of what makes this place special. There's no way of knowing what it would mean in another generation or two. But right now, it gives us the security and stability to recover.
We were fine before Adir showed up, and we'll be fine when they're gone. Trust the lands and her people, Envoy.
If we give Adir power over us, we can't be surprised if they decide to flex it later.
We give up our fighters and the wealth of our lands, and get promises in return. Can you wield a promise, Envoy? Can you drink it like clean water? Can you see it when you open both eyes wide?
A grave rum could work, so long as trade keeps moving through the Scarp and you're willing to serve as our go-between, Envoy. And we'll have cannons enough to deter the adherents from trying anything stupid.
When the Empire demands its tribute, from where will it come? Emerald Stair is not the breadbasket it was, and the dream of yore is now deferred. If we accept this deal, I fear we are building a trap certain to catch our own legs.
Subtle, pernicious, touch the rot, yet the disease remains. Safety among spiders. A web gleaming with dew. They weave, they wait.
Well, let's not twiddle our thumbs while Paradis burns. Envoy, be reasonable. This is not a good idea. Give these people an ounce of agency, and there's no telling what they'll do. Wodaka, have mercy on my soul. Well, what will the illustrious leaders of the Living Lands decide?
So this is what I want. I would prefer we keep to ourselves as we have, but if it will take all of us to repel your people, a united Living Lands it is.
The Living Lands is going to need trade partners if we're gonna make it out here. I support a grave rum.
I must throw in with Thirdborn, who opened their doors to us in our time of need. It will be a grave room for the people of yore.
Well, it's hardly unanimous, but the majority shall rule. A grave room it shall be, then.
I do not trust your empire to show restraint in its control of the living lands. Gods help us.
We can worry about the future when it comes. This at least gives us the backing to survive and rebuild.
Right. Might as well go ahead and start designing those rebel flags sooner rather than later.
Good. We'll have perhaps a whole week of peace before the yoke starts chafing.
I will do my level best to convince the Emperor to accept a grave room. That leaves the matter of Ludwine and the Steel Garrote. She will never surrender, Envoy. You must kill her, or we will lose Paradis, and eventually the island.
Whatever happens to the living lands, at least I can kill Ludwine. I'll take that over nothing.
She better say her goodbyes while she can.
I'm proud to fight at your side, Envoy. One last time.
Let's get to work then. We've got a walking corpse to bury.
The Paradis militia will be at your back. Give her no quarter. The future waits for you.
Show them a fight, Envoy.
We will send reinforcements to help you reclaim the Eastern Gate. From there, work your way to the main plaza. May all the gods of Eora and the living lands protect you.
Let's take back the city. Whatever happens tomorrow, the Steel Garrote can only make it worse.
Time to stop the Steel Garrote. Lead the way, Envoy.
That was
Nice
a
job,
close
everyone.
You're going to the correct bit. Found you. You shouldn't be here.
We make
Reign with us.
I heard something. You can't hide.
Protect the envoy. Ihaise!
Watch your back!
Stop right there!
Get them next, dear.
Right flank!
Faster, I said!
Get past me! Just go. I've got the plaza under control.
For the living lands! Stop right there!
Let's finish this.
Oh, no, you don't!
Not bad, envoy!
Don't worry, darling. We'll keep this gate safe for you.
The envoy? Of course you'd be the last face I see. I guess I shouldn't be surprised to see you here. I have. As an endearing soldier, it's only fitting I die here at the dawn of our war against the living lands. But never mind that. That isn't what's important right now. You've declared yourself for the enemy. You've turned your back on Adir, on the Emperor. Again. I don't understand. Why, envoy? What right do the others have to be here? Because they landed some number of years before us? Does that mean they deserve it? You won't stop us. Even if I'm food for worms. One way or another, these lands belong to Adir.
Wodeca demands your submission. Stand against her and fall.
That's Ludwig ahead.
There
Lead
you
on.
are.
I'm with you to the end.
So, you survived the garden. Did you come all this way just to try your luck again? To kill me more efficiently than last time? You'll get your chance.
Then what are you waiting for?
Look around, Envoy. Heelguard should have listened. He tried to bring order through compromise. He failed. Order is meant to be imposed by a stern, guiding hand.
Her order wields sharp steel. She must set down her blade.
Heelguard is a fool if he thinks half measures will save the island. When this is over, I'll instruct him, personally. As for you, Sapadal's chains are broken, which means your soul is in their grasp. I don't know how deeply you've been compromised, Envoy. And if I don't know, then I cannot suffer you to live. Do not patronize me. I have every right to put down a threat to the Empire. Steel yourself, Envoy. Make this a fight to remember, even in death.
We would not welcome her death. There is still ample shade for her beneath our tree.
All this time, I knew you'd be worthy prey. Don't let me down. Farewell, envoy.
There's no coming back this time. Prepare yourself for the next world.
Let's finish this. Together.
Once I'm done killing you, your god of flame!
We are every seed in the soil. We will always grow.
No port.
Wherever Ludwine is now, she must be seething.
Of course, we'd be happy to kill her again, if needed.
She's done for. But we're not. Whatever's next, we'll face it. Together.
Gods, you're all gonna make me sick. But carry on.
Unraveled at last. We no longer feel her wire against our flesh. We are free always. We are free forever.
Silence falls over Paradis, as though the city is holding its breath. Then you hear it, the ringing of a distant bell, the waving of banners, and cheers of victory. After a short and bloody conflict, the dust has finally begun to settle. You feel Sapadal close to your thoughts, stirring with interest. The god of the living lands is observing this moment, unfettered by confusion or fear. For the first time in centuries, they understand. The Paradis militia rallies to you, the outsider who defended them in their hour of need. Whatever happens next, you have won their confidence. You take a moment to reflect on the calm. Not so long ago, you arrived at these shores on a simple errand, which turned out to be anything but simple. The Dream Scourge is over, and the island has been cleansed of plague. A time of healing and mourning follows. People look to you for answers about the source of the affliction. You tell them the truth, how the plague came from a power beyond mortal understanding, and how it is finally at peace. With your guidance, the Living Lands becomes a vassal of the Adiran Empire. In exchange for their taxes and soldiers, the free settlements are protected from future attacks. The fight for survival is over. The rebels of Paradise come to learn that resistance is futile. After the assassin Egwolf died in custody, many of his worst fears about the Empire are confirmed. Some of his people splinter off, while others abandon the fight entirely. Their alliance is never the same. The refugees of Emerald Stair resettle in Thirdborn, bringing their skills and research to aid the local community. What starts as an uneasy partnership blossoms into a bond of trust. Through shared adversity, they find common ground. The ashes of Fior Messiverno continue to smolder. Scavengers avoid the ruins, fearful of spirits unleashed by animancy gone awry. The once promising city is nothing but a cautionary tale. Though Adir has promised that the Living Lands will retain their autonomy, not everyone in Shatterscarp trusts the Empire. But many Adiran ships sail into the Graverum's ports, bearing fine linens and aged wines. These ease the painful memory of the day Reengrim culled their people. After the Living Lands is declared a vassal of Adir, Solace Keep reluctantly opens the doors of its fortress, though not before numerous missives are sent to Mihala demanding the Graverum be honored. Her reluctance costs the dwarves. The Pargrunen are never favored in trade negotiations, and are the last to be supplied by Adiran caravans. But the Wardens have rounder bellies than anyone can remember. When Kai leaves the Living Lands, he is no longer running. For the first time in many years, he can face the future. He returns to Rauatai, committed to peace for his people, those he left in Rauatai, as well as those he found in the Living Lands. He joins the Ronganui's council, counterbalancing powerful voices of isolationism and hawkishness. It is a long and difficult battle, and he is happy to fight it. With many of his anxieties and lifelong fears addressed, Marius now feels very differently than he did when he first met the envoy. Still far more comfortable in the wilds than among people, he nonetheless finds that his worries about the unknown were merely self-protection against the traumas of his childhood. Armed with this knowledge, he finds himself more capable of living in civilization, and far less fearful of his home in Galawain's tusks. While he never regains his former place as a warden of Solace, he spends his time traveling between Solace and Thirdborn, acting as a stubborn ambassador between the two. Giada learned much in your time together. How to stand up to authority, how to face the unknown, and how to move on from the past. But her family's unfinished work weighs heavily on her soul. Her inheritance is the burden of achieving the impossible. Such is the life of an animancer. At least now she has the right tools for the job, and new friends to help her through hard times. No longer under the threat of imminent death, Yardsley returns to the Animancers. Reunited with her beloved Quilici, she helps him and the Animancers as they put their lives together after the attack on Fior Messiverno. Eventually, she even has something nice to say to Vidaro. As the days pass in contentment and relative peace, Yardsley is struck by the persistent feeling that something is missing. Though she still devotes herself to her studies of both the arcane and the godless, the restlessness never goes away. Freed from torment for the first time in centuries, Soppadal turns their prodigious curiosity to the people that shaped them. They observe the ways their people live, and they think deeply about what they see. Though they flinch away from moments of violence, and they grieve souls returned to them too soon, the rage that once shook cities to rubble no longer rules them. Instead, they come to you with questions. They want to understand. After a time, they begin tentatively to garden. Where they can, they improve the lives of Kith, and the suffering that troubled them is reduced, if never fully eradicated. Their grief compels them to love, and they love unreservedly, with the power of a god. Soppadal has questions about what happens tomorrow, and the day after. You do your best to keep them calm, until the voice in your head is little more than a polite whisper. After everything you've been through, you don't mind the company. The sounds of celebration pull you out of reverie. Many are waiting to greet you with open arms. You take a moment to catch your breath and savor it, because everything is about to change.